Somatic reflexes are the rapid, predictable, and automatic responses of skeletal muscle to changes in stimuli. All reflex arcs include 5 functional components: sensory receptor, sensory neuron, integrating center, motor neuron, and effector. Other characteristics, or combination of characteristics, differentiate types of reflex arcs from one another. The simplest of reflex arcs have a single synapse between the sensory neuron and motor neuron. These reflex arcs are referred to as monosynaptic. When an integrating center has one or more association neurons relaying messages to other association or motor neurons, the reflex arc is polysynaptic. An ipsilateral reflex is one that has the sensory neuron entering and the motor neuron exiting on the same side of the integrating center. On the other hand, when the sensory neuron enters the integrating center on one side and the motor neuron exits on the other side, the reflex arc is considered contralateral. When one sensory neuron sends an impulse that activates association neurons in several segments of the spinal cord, the reflex arc is considered intersegmental. The stretch reflex is a response to the stretching of muscles. It is monosynaptic and ipsilateral. Stretching stimulates receptors in the muscle spindle of the agonist, stretched muscle. One or more action potentials are generated by the receptors and propagate along the axon of the sensory neuron. In the spinal cord, the sensory impulses directly excite a single motor neuron, leading to the agonist muscle. The sensory impulses also stimulate an inhibitory association neuron in the spinal cord. In turn, this interneuron inhibits the motor neuron, leading to the antagonist, opposing muscle. Reciprocal innervation results when the stretching agonist muscle contracts and the opposing antagonist muscle relaxes. In addition, conscious proprioception information is relayed to the cerebrum from the muscle spindle receptors. The stretch reflex prevents injury due to overstretching of muscles. The tendon reflex is a response to the contraction of muscles. Tendon reflexes are polysynaptic and ipsilateral. In the tendon of an agonist muscle, the tendon organ receptors are stimulated by contraction. The stimulated receptors increase the rate of generation of action potentials that propagate along the sensory neuron axon. The sensory impulses excite association neurons in the spinal cord, which then excite motor neurons to the antagonist muscles. The sensory neuron also synapses with an inhibitory association neuron, which sends fewer nerve impulses to the contracting muscle. This reciprocal innervation provided by the tendon reflex causes the contracting agonist muscle to relax and the opposing antagonist muscles to contract. Conscious proprioception information is relayed to the cerebrum via nerve impulses from the tendon organ receptors. The tendon reflex prevents injury due to excess muscle tension or overcontraction. The flexor reflex is a response to pain. This reflex is polysynaptic, ipsilateral, and intersegmental. Pain receptors are stimulated, causing increased frequency of action potentials to be generated and conducted along the sensory neuron axon. The sensory impulses excite several association neurons that lead to additional spinal cord segments. In turn, these impulses excite motor neurons leading to several different limb muscles. The flexor muscles contract and cause the appendage to withdraw from the painful stimuli. The crossed extensor reflex helps your body maintain its balance when it has been disrupted, often as a result of a flexor reflex arc. Like the flexor reflex, it is polysynaptic and intersegmental, but differs in that it is contralateral. The crossed extensor reflex operates in the following manner. Pain receptors are stimulated on the right side, causing an increased frequency of action potentials being generated and conducted along the sensory neuron axon. In the spinal cord, the sensory impulses excite association neurons, leading to other segments on the same right side. These association neurons excite motor neurons on the right side that lead to several different limb muscles and cause withdrawal of the foot. This reflex arc becomes contralateral when the sensory impulses also excite association neurons in the spinal cord that synapse with motor neurons on the opposite side and send signals to extensor muscles in the left leg. In response, extensor muscles contract, extending the left leg to balance the withdrawal of the right leg from the painful stimulus.